Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, it should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Keller Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. It's great to have all of you along. I mentioned a story near the end of the radio show this morning that I wanted to delve into in a little more detail here this morning. You've got the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, holding multiple meetings to consider a possible federal ban of transgendered individuals from owning firearms. Multiple sources familiar with the matter confirm that they've held several such meetings since the tragic shooting that happened in Minneapolis. And so this legal question of banning firearm ownership for transgendered individuals will focus on whether these people suffer from gender dysphoria or in fact mentally ill and therefore should be denied firearm ownership while they are unstable and unwell. So this would be a big step. Then you're seeing a reaction, Charlie Kirk's comment there. So this is a source within DOJ told Breitbart, Democrats have called for common sense gun laws for a long time. This seems pretty common sense to me. So the decision is not final, but these meetings are happening. There is also a story at the Daily Mail regarding this, with a little bit more detail that I want to share with you. Trump ignites a culture war with extraordinary plan to ban transgender Americans from owning guns. So this is following up what happened in Minneapolis last week. So Pam Bondi apparently considering this. And this is an unnamed source within DOJ. But this story has been out there. It was trending this morning as I was going through trending stories. So individuals within the DOJ are reviewing ways to ensure that mentally ill individuals suffering from gender dysphoria are unable to obtain firearms while they are unstable and unwell. What do you think of this? I would love to see your comments. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. So this is this report of this shooter in Minneapolis, biological man, now identifies as a woman. He's the one that carried out this mass shooting at the Catholic school in Minneapolis recently. So he was born Robert, changed his name legally, becoming a woman as a minor, and there have been a lot of photos of this. And then the story goes on to talk about how 2 years prior to this, another transgender killer targeted a Christian school in Nashville, Tennessee. Shooter in that case, you'll remember, it was a woman. In this case, she identified as a male. There are a number of these different stories here. So if you want more details, this story's at the Daily Mail. And again, their headline is Trump ignites culture war with extraordinary plan to ban transgender Americans from owning guns. What would you say about that? What would you think about that? I would appreciate your perspectives. Please feel free to leave your comments. Yeah, Kathy is saying he obviously changed his name, did not become a woman. Brian is unsure about how he feels about it. On one hand, I'm a big Second Amendment guy. On the other, there's a problem with mental illness and gun violence. David is saying gender dysphoria definitely is a mental health issue. Yeah, this issue of mental illness and guns, we've talked about it before. That has been an issue before. And I understand why folks are concerned about that. Do you lose your Second Amendment rights simply because you are suffering from mental illness? There are those who will argue quite passionately, no, you don't lose that right to own guns, even if you're mentally ill. And there are others who are, feel much differently about it. All right. I've got a few other stories that I want to share with you here this morning. Don't have as much as I usually do. Get a load of this. I missed this story this morning from the New York Post. The Biden White House lawyers and DOJ were befuddled by auto pen clemencies. Emails show he didn't review the warrants. So in other words, we had President Joe Biden offering clemency grants during his final days in office, caused concern inside the West Wing and Justice Department about how to ensure his wishes were accurately implemented. And what's going on, and you can see from this, they're looking for thoughts. I don't know if you can read this. Thoughts on how to handle this? He doesn't review the warrants. So in other words, you had people inside of the Biden administration saying the president's not reviewing the warrants. And this is pretty crazy. So there are a lot of folks I noticed on Twitter, this is a big story. A lot of people are reacting to this on Twitter this morning. The issue of he told the New York Times in July the auto pen was used because there were a lot of them. Yeah, he issued quite a number of them. I mean, we're talking about thousands of people that he had been issuing clemency to, but that issue of the auto pen as to whether or not he actually saw what he was saying, now there are documents from White House staff and emails that are saying in no uncertain terms, no, he wasn't reviewing them. He didn't see them, which just absolutely blows my mind. Okay, one other story. The president this week floated the idea of arming grade school teachers who are former distinguished military members. So he made these comments Tuesday, hadn't seen these until now. This was during the press conferences. He was talking about Space Force and moving that down to Alabama. But he said, we have great teachers that love our children. If you took a small percentage of those teachers that were in the military, that were distinguished in the military, that were in the National Guard, so on, and you let them carry, that's something a lot of people like. I sort of liked it, the president said. It'd have to be steady. Now, we have seen states that have been moving along these lines already, states that are doing it. But the president saying they're trained, they know about weapons. You can't do it with every teacher because most teachers don't know. I always thought that would be an alternative. So the president now is catapulting that issue of arming teachers, in this case, who are former military. And what a lot of schools have done is that if teachers get training and so on, they go through training, They know how to carry a handgun. And again, they want to do it. I think that's kind of a no-brainer that you've got to have folks that want to participate in that and want to do that versus just handing every teacher a handgun and saying, yeah, you here, protect the kids. Yeah, that's just kind of a recipe for disaster. So we'll see where that goes. And I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm going to wish you an incredible weekend. I love having all of you here. You've made it through the entire video, so you are part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade. Those folks, you saw me share some of their comments here earlier. Appreciate all of you. I want to wish you a great weekend. Take care. So long until Monday. Until then, I'm underground and gone.